Ahoy, mateys. Welcome back to another episode of Out of the Park Baseball 25, where the 2024 Pittsburgh Pirates, led by Captain Jack Sparrow. And we have had a tough last 10 games. We're riding a 2-8 record over our last 10. We were hitting right around the middle of the division, but we have fallen down to fourth now, and 1 month under our belt. Wanted to kind of take an analysis of how our team's doing and see who stood out. From my memory, O'Neill Cruz and Rowdy Tellez have certainly been the best players for us so far. And looking at this right now, it looks certainly like that is the case. I've had this sorted by OPS and Palacios in his brief stint coming up. He's looked pretty well. Hopefully he can continue that up. Nick Gonzalez is actually doing surprisingly better than I thought he did. He's had a couple decent hits in some of our played games, but he seems to be doing better in the simulated ones, I guess. Henry Davis had a good start, but he's cooled off since then, but we'll keep our hopes high for him. And really, Brian Reynolds and Key Brian Hayes have been low points for us so far this season. And down here, if you look at Connor Joe, it's Manny Grandal. Eddie Oliveira started good. He has not been too hot lately. So just overall, I think everyone below this O'Neill Cruz line has a lot to offer. I'd give Nick Gonzalez the benefit of the doubt here. He's playing about above where he should be, but everyone below that, I'm going to need better from them to keep this thing going. So we're going to probably take a deep look at our organizational depth right now, and let's actually go down to Indianapolis and see how we're doing on here. It's Dustin Peterson. He's only played 13 games, but he's doing pretty well. 2 home runs and a .478 average, 11 hits on 27 plate appearances, but probably not a guy who's going to do much at the pro level. Could give us just like a shot in the arm, but we'd have to sacrifice a 40-man roster spot for him. He's probably not going to do that. Joe Perez is an interesting guy that we could call up in place of Connor Joe. He can play first and third, and he's a right-handed hitter just like Connor Joe, and he's doing really well at the AAA level, or I wouldn't say really well, but well enough. 7 home runs through the first month, hitting .278 with an .870 OPS. So that could be something to think about here. Matt Gorski's looking good, and by good I mean he's passable. It's no one's really jumping off the page here. Let me preface by saying that, but everyone is doing acceptable. Malcolm Nunez, probably the guy that is most disappointing here, but he just recently got called up, I think, in AA. He was doing fine, but we'd like to see more from him because I do believe he has the ability to be a long-term first base option for us if things fall the way that I hope they do. In AA, no one really jumps out at us. I guess Seitler and Peguero, probably the best there. Peguero, I'm kind of on the fence about. Give it a call up here. He certainly could be at the pro team right now. But we'll kind of take those opportunities as they come. Last but not least, let's take a look at Termarr Johnson. Check back in on him. So still not doing tremendous, but doing passable. And then very quickly, we'll switch over to our pitching here, see if we've gotten any improvements there. So Bubba Chandler, not doing much better since the last time we saw him. Solo Meadows dropped the ERA a little bit. At the AA level, let's see. Jared Jones, if we take a look at his game log here, had a really tough start in his last outing. That's really been his only bad outing. So we're early enough in the season. I'm not going to hold that against him. I'm most interested in how Paul Skeens has pitched at the AAA level here. Take a look at that game log. So it's like he's had 2 starts, giving up 4 runs in both starts, which isn't promising. Might be time to think about sending him down again if he does have another bad start. But looking at that, it doesn't look like there's anyone that jumps off the page is someone who could make a difference immediately. Really quick, I'm just going to go through the bullpen here. Again, doesn't look like a whole lot of... And again, it's early in the season, so I guess Ben Heller would probably be the guy that we would call up if we were going to call up anyone. Not a huge sample size for any of these guys, though. And no one really jumps off the page. Take a look at Cam Aldred really quick. So... we're just going to continue to kind of plug away here, hope for the best. We have the start of our rotation starting us off in May here. We got a series against Colorado coming up, and then I'll probably simulate this series against the Los Angeles Angels. That'll take us to our division series, and then we'll probably get deep into the weeds with those games, take us to All-Star voting. That's my hopes for the next few episodes. The series has been dropping on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Saturdays, but I might kill Saturdays for a little bit of time just because I have a lot of stuff going on this time of year, but we'll try and push out as many videos as we can here. My goal is to kind of get through the season slowly so we have time to kind of savor things, but I'd like to get to the World Series probably sometime before, definitely before the All-Star break. If I can this year, I'd like to plug in at least 3 or 4 years in this if I can, preferably longer. We'll see how this thing goes, but we got a winnable game here against the Rockies. I think a winnable series against the Rockies. They're one of the worst teams in the league, but we'll see how we do playing at home. Apparently Cal Quantrill is having a really tough go of things right now, so I think he's a guy that we can do some damage to. So let's give it a go here and play out this first game of the series. And here we go. Mitch Keller to lead things off for us. And he immediately gives up a lead-off single. Keller has statistically been our worst pitcher of the year so far, but he has had some good games, and then he's followed those up with some bad games. So we'll see where he goes here. We're looking at doing a contract extension for him, but the way he's pitching right now, it's looking like he might be trade bait at the deadline, but we'll see. So after walking the second runner on, he gets a strikeout there and follows it up with possibly a double play here. Looks like he's just going to get the lead runner up at second. Men at the corners with 2 outs. Chris Bryant up. Could spell danger. Could be an out. And it looks like it is just an out. So Keller starts off not well, but gets out of it. Opportunity for Olivares to get us off on the right foot here. It's out into center. I think that's going to be an out. No, it actually fell in, so good start. And that's actually a slide-in double. So we immediately get a runner in scoring position. Like to see that. Jake Lamb batting second for us. And that's going to make it through. So could be an RBI. Coming home, and yeah, there you go. Good start to the game for the Pirates. Doing it for the home fans. All right, let's see if Brian Reynolds can get his May going here. Guess not. First out of the game for our side. Go ahead and send him. Feeling a little spicy. I'll throw over. I'll take the first pitch here. Looks like that was outside. Let's take another pitch. That was a strike. We'll go ahead and send him now. He's just not getting the jump he's looking for. O'Neal Cruz will swing away here. 2-2 count. Grounds it right over to first. And that is going to be... Ooh! Thought it was going to be a double play, but O'Neal Cruz beats it out. And that's that good speed he has coming out of the batter's box. So now we'll send him. Yep. Guess not. Go, buddy. Big throw, but makes it. And let's see if Rowdy Tellez can bring one in. Strikes out. Nothing doing. Worth trying, though. Those are those situations like we had in that Giants game where you just can't get runs in. You got to focus on getting the clutch hits. Don't leave runners in scoring position. That is really the key to this sport. So 2 out single there for Elias Diaz. Sam Hilliard coming up. Let's see if Keller can get the strikeout here. He does. Strikes him out looking. And Keller continues to hit into his groove. Ke'Bryan Hayes to lead off the bottom of the second, and he starts it with a walk. We're going to continue to keep that pressure up. No one's going. No one feels good about that. On a changeup, too, of all pitches. Palacios, I think that's going to be an out just based on the way that everyone's sitting around. Ball took a weird trajectory. And Yasmani Grandal. Nope. All right, now you go. There you go. Another successful stolen base. And let's see if Nick Gonzalez can do something here. Our overperformer when we were looking at the stats earlier, but looks like nothing doing there. Another runner stranded in scoring position. Mitch Keller back into his groove. That's going to be an opposite field single. So he's given up a single in every inning thus far. Nolan Jones, I think, struck out in his last at bat, and he'll strike out in that one as well. Ryan McMahon. Hopefully this will close out the inning. And it does. So Keller's given up the singles, but nothing really more than that. Only one runner in scoring position for him all game. That was in the first. Ooh, I think that's a home run right there. No, just short. Right at the warning track for Olivares. Tough wind for us today. That's going to be another close one, but I think that's going to be an out. And of course, the one I think is an out is a home run. There you go. Jake Lamb just pops it right over the opposite fence. Makes it 2-0 now. And Brian Reynolds, I think that's going to be a double in the gap. Looks like it. Sliding in. Everything's coming up Pirates right now. So Reynolds is in there with a double. And O'Neal Cruz, our best hitter, coming up to hopefully bring him in. That's going to be to the warning track. Should be enough to bring Reynolds over to third, though. And unfortunately, with 2 outs, it doesn't make a huge difference, but could do something. Rowdy Tellez. Ooh. Thought that might fall in, but a spectacular couch out in left field by Bouchard. So we're up 2-0. Let's see if Mitch Keller can keep things going here. 5 strikeouts through 3. 1.33 whip. And starts things out with an easy fly ball out to Brian Reynolds in left field. Blackman struck out in his last bat. That's just going to be a little easy fly ball to O'Neal Cruz up at second base. And Ezekiel Tovar strikes out looking. So 6 strikeouts through 4 now for Keller. Looking sharp on the mound. Ke'Bryan Hayes starts the bottom of the 4th off with an out. Josh Palacios. That looked foul, but guess a ground out nonetheless. And 3 straight ground outs over to first base. Keep him active. Make Chris Bryant work out there, right? All right, so Mitch Keller back on the mound. We only have 2 runs to show for this. We've it's felt like we've been the significantly better team. And we have lost games like this in the past, so gotta just keep things going in the right direction for us. Could be double play, it is. It's that 1-4-3 double play to end the top of the 5th. Shutout still intact for Mitch Keller. So Nick Gonzalez starts off the bottom of the 5th with a soft single out into center. These guys just do not want to run on Elias Diaz today. I think that's going to be a double play. And it is. So that's why sometimes you just got to go. Maybe I've got to start doing scent forced. Jake Lamb, who had a home run in his last at bat, fly out into center here, and that will wrap up the 5th inning. Still 2-0. Keller back on the mound to face the 2, 3, and 4 hitter here, who have not had much success. It's going to be Duval, I think his second hit. He had 2 hits and a walk, so he's been their best batter of the game thus far. Nolan Jones up now, and that'll be his 3rd strikeout of the game. Maybe we can get him that golden sombrero that everyone is always dreaming about. Ryan McMahon could be a double play, but it's just going to be the one up at the top. Lead runner out. Chris Bryant up. And they take a steal on Grandal, and he is in there. Go ahead and keep pitching away. I think that's going to be an out. Easy play for Palacios, and Keller gets through it. I think that's just the 2nd time he's had a runner in scoring position in this one. Brian Reynolds looks like he's going to strike out to start the bottom of the 6th, but I was wrong. Just a little bloop right over to shortstop, but not a bloop enough to get on base. O'Neal Cruz, 4 pitches, and I think that'll be a walk. All right, so let's go ahead and send him now. Bad pitch. It looked like a curveball. Cruz is in there. Rowdy Tellez up. Let's see if they walk him. And they do. So runners at 1st and 2nd now. No outs. Key Brian Hayes up. Full count. And he goes down swinging. Josh Palacios up now. And that's through the middle. They're just going to get him over at 1st. Oh, I guess that was out number 3. I'm not paying attention. Forgot about that. Jake Lamb out. Or I guess it was the Brian Reynolds out. My bad. Mitch Keller here. Pitching to Charlie Blackmon. Another single. Just these easy singles to start innings. Give my heart pause. Oh, what a catch by Palacios. I was holding my breath on that one. So a full count walk now, and maybe it's time to start thinking about calling someone in for relief. We are in the 7th inning here, so looks like they have primarily a good chunk of lefties in the middle of that lineup there, and then mainly righties. I'll get Mladinsky and Barucki to come in here. Hopefully Keller will not make things worse here, and he does. Walks, the base is loaded. Just went out. Sean Bouchard up. Let's take a mound visit. He's not sure he can go another batter. I think that's our cue to get Mladinsky in. So he's not completely warm, which could be a bad thing. Looks like there's going to be contact on the first pitch. There is. And they get him at home, and we get the double play. So worked out. After that, he made contact. I was kind of afraid that I didn't play my infield in there, but it worked out nonetheless. Have Barucki sit down there. And ooh, we got the Take Me Out to the Ball Game song. We got people singing too. I love that. Root, root, root for the Pirates. And Yasmani Grandal. Full count to start off the bottom of the 7th. And he goes down swinging. You got to start stringing together some hits. Like that one right there by Nick Gonzalez. Opposite field gap. Could be a triple, but I think it's just going to be a double. That's what I like to see. All right. Let's see if Olivares can do something here. Hits it over to third. Keeps him up at second. Olivares goes down. And now it's up to Jake Lamb, who does not get it through. And the Let's Go Pirates Oregon chants go on deaf ears. All right. We'll get Barucki back in there just in case things go south for Mladinsky here. But that's a strike. Out. My apologies. Nolan Jones up. 2-1 count. And that is going to be over to Brian Reynolds to end the top of the 8th. Right? No, that didn't end the top of the 8th. My apologies. Man. Bush League announcing here. All right, so there's the walk now. And Chris Bryant up. And that's going to end the inning now. I think I was fixated on his inning count than the actual inning itself because he got the outs at the end of the last inning. And given the situation here, I'll get Bednar going. About time to get him another save opportunity here. Hopefully we can add on a run or 5, but I'm not holding my breath. Catch in foul territory by Bouchard down left, puts O'Neal Cruz away, and Rowdy Tellez, who had, I think, 7 home runs in May for us, which is pretty good, but not quite good enough to be on any league leaderboards. I'll actually look at the league stats after this game to give you guys how the first month of the season went for the rest of the league. In comes Bednar to get us the save. He's made some of his save opportunities a little bit more dramatic than they needed to be thus far this season. But starts things off with an out. Even though that looked like an error. Tovar is going to ground out to third. Another one where it looks like he comes off the bag, but we got it. And a 2-0 count. Last out of the game. Up to center field. Palacios running in, and that's going to fall in. So now we have the tying run at bat. Sam Hilliard. He is injured, though. Hopefully injured enough to strike out. And no. This is not good. Sean Bouchard up. 2 men on. Bouchard would be the go-ahead, or I guess game-winning run here. But instead he strikes out. Bednar gets out of the jam. There we go. A shutout team performance by the Pittsburgh Pirates pitching staff, which you love to see. Other than that, no one really stood out. I guess Jake Lamb certainly had the best game. 2 for 4 hitting with the home run. Gonzalez also had a pretty good game at the plate. But overall, our bats were pretty cold. We were 6 for 29 on the day, which I think is hitting 200 if I can do quick math in my head. Just a little below that. Mitch Keller, the player of the game, had 8 strikeouts through 6 1/3. So a good recovery game for him. Good hold from Mladinsky. And I like the result of that. And we'll have JT Brubaker start in our next game against Kyle Friedland. We'll go ahead and sim through that one. Hopefully we have as much luck, and we do. And good pitching performance. Holderman actually gets the win. But Brubaker good through 5 with 5 strikeouts. Bednar with his 8th save of the season. Chapman and Barucki also get holds there. And again, not spectacular hitting, but good enough. Looks like no homers, but a triple for O'Neal Cruz, which is nice to see. 2 RBIs for him. And our third game here is going to be against Gomber. And let's see if we can get a series sweep here. We do. So 12-6. Series sweep. McCutcheon eligible to come off the IL, so we'll look at that in a second. It looks like Paul Skeens got suspended. Tell me what he got suspended for. I'd love to know that. I'll look into it. See if I can figure it out. I'll tell you in the next episode. Our 12-6 victory here. Looks like Martin Perez did okay, and then Eric Lauer came in, sort of blew things for us after Luis Ortiz kept things going. This is the kind of pitching performance, though, that we need from our exorbitant amount of borderline starters, where sometimes you can just string together 3 innings between a few guys to make things work. Hitting wise, Rowdy Tellez knocked in his 11th, O'Neal Cruz his 8th. Looks like everyone had pretty productive days at the plate except for Cabrian Hayes and Nick Gonzalez. I love the 4 for 5 for Rowdy Tellez, 3 RBIs for him. Connor Joe even gets on the action, 2 for 5 with 2 RBIs, 4 RBIs for O'Neal Cruz, as well as 4 runs scored. So overall, a great series, and we'll see where that puts us in the standings here. So we're still in 5th, but we've got 3 wins in a row under our belt. Unfortunately, the Cardinals have 7, so they're keeping us at bay there. But that does help out our cause a little bit. And if you look at where we're at in the total National League picture, very close to the bottom. So we gotta address that sooner than later. If you look at the rest of the league here, the Red Sox surprisingly out in front in the East, ahead of the Orioles, Rays, Blue Jays down at the bottom there. The Central, which I think is kind of anyone's division this year, the Detroit Tigers currently in the lead there. Astros in the lead in the West. Rangers looking good as expected. A's in the mix. I guess everyone's doing pretty bad down here. No one even has a winning record. In the National League, clearly the 2 best teams are the Dodgers and the Braves, and you'll see why in a second. Giants and Padres look better than expected probably, and the Diamondbacks looking worse than expected there. So we're still early in the season, but I would say we have some kind of surprising things. But if you think about last year in real life, the Pirates were doing very well this time of the year and then kind of crash landed halfway through the season. So don't read too much into what's going on here, but I did want to take a look at the statistics here, kind of see how everyone's doing. Shohei Ohtani is having a great season so far with the Dodgers. 16 home runs through the first month, 40 RBIs through the first month. That'd be shocking if he keeps up that kind of pace, but he's having quite a year. Mookie Betts and Freddie Freeman also looking great for the Dodgers there too. Freddie Freeman already has 100 total bases, so that is quite the start to the year. Over in the American League, Giancarlo Stanton's having a great start to his year. Tristan Casas looks like he's the guy carrying Boston for the most part. Akil Baddoo leading the American League with 3 stolen bases. That's 3 triples. I was going to say that's a really shockingly low amount of stolen bases, but there you go. Estuary Ruiz is the guy, which that's to be expected, right? Then if we look at the pitching leaders here, Reese Olson shockingly has the lowest ERA in the American League, and Cooper Criswell leading the American League in wins. So probably not what we're going to see in real life here, but an kind of interesting start to the season, especially on the pitching side. Kevin Gossman, the leader in wins above replacement. On the other side, Spencer Strider has a huge head start over anyone else. Kyle Harrison actually has the lowest ERA with 1.00. We fell victim to him earlier. Bobby Mitchell and Freddie Peralta tied for the most wins in the National League. So just giving you a kind of like a quick overview of how things are looking. Obviously, no Pittsburgh Pirates players rank on any of these lists. So we'll see if we can kind of get some guys to work in there, or maybe we can manufacture some type of interesting trade. We'll see how this goes. But again, thank you for watching this episode. And we'll hopefully have another video coming out on Wednesday. And then based on how that one goes, we might have to skip Saturday. But hope you guys are continuing to enjoy this series, and we'll see you next time.